Today on the show, we will recap the Silver Cup from Lernerville, make our Knoxville 360 and 410 Nationals picks, and talk a bunch of ride swaps and drivers moving around to different places. Let's jump into it on this week's edition of the High Limit Room. Welcome back to the High Limit Room. I am Chase Rodman, the announcer for Kubota High Limit Racing. Later on in the show, we will be joined by Tony Laporta and Brian Walker to talk all things sprint car racing. Before we get to that, we did want to do a recap of the Lernerville Speedway, the Don Martin Memorial Silver Cup, the 34th edition of that race, paying $25,000 to win. It was race number 8 of the Roto-Rooter Midweek Series. Of course, Lernerville in the Western PA region, Sarver, PA to be exact. So not exactly Central PA, but Western PA. Still a very, very good crowd on hand. They love sprint car racing around that area, and we were treated to a pretty darn good show over there, and a very solid field of drivers signed into the pit area as well. We were able to get to 32 cars for a 4-heat race program, and it was Dason Persley jumping out with a very good start to the night with a quick time in Capital Custom Trailer qualifying. It was his 5th Capital Custom Trailer quick time award of the season, only trailing Aaron Reitzel by 3. So the Race Redeem Foundation Rookie of the Year contender, no doubt about it, has got qualifying figured out in that Buick Motorsports number 13 car. Now in the heat races, those were won by Carson Macedo, Spencer Baston, Cy Lynch, and James McFadden, with Tanner Thorson taking down the FK Roddens dash. He would start on the pole of the main event alongside of Carson Macedo. Before we got to that feature, though, Spencer Baston, he was able to get a nice bonus before that main event even began by spinning the lowest number on the redraw wheel presented by DKW Transport. Baston spun a 0 and was able to get a $2,000 bonus, so not bad for not even taking the green flag in the A main for Spencer Baston. But in the feature, really nobody had anything to challenge with Carson Macedo as he just putt-putted the bottom all the way through 35 laps, slicing his way through lap traffic and fending off challenges from Cy Lynch and from Tanner Thorson. The main event was slowed down a couple of times, a couple of yellows throughout that one, with the worst and the biggest incident of the night taking place early on when Brent Marks and Brenham Crouch got together, sending Marks on his lid and back to the pit area. He would lose wholesale ground in the championship standings due to a 24th place result in the main event over there at Lernerville. Now, back behind Carson Macedo, Tanner Thorson claimed his second place, or maybe his third second place finish of the season. He got by Cy Lynch with an absolutely wild move into turns 1 and 2. I still am flabbergasted how he was able to make that work. Drove underneath the actual racing surface, underneath the berm, and was able to drive by Cy in 1 and 2 to get by for that second spot. Lynch would come home in third, his best finish of the 2025 season. Anthony Macri fourth, and James McFadden rounded out the top 5. Rico Abreu, he was the Rod and Supply hard charger. He started 16th and would end up in the 7th position at the end of that main event. With his second place finish, Tanner Thorson has now moved to the top of the heap in the Roto-Rooter Midweek Series with a 13-point lead with just 2 more races left in that mini championship. Those final 2 races taking place at the Lawrenceburg Speedway in Indiana and the Lucas Oil Speedway in Missouri later on this year. So Thorson has been on a roll here recently with 10 straight points-paying events inside of the top 10. Nice job by him and Ron Gross Motorsports number 88. Now, 3 drivers that were not in action over at Lernerville were, of course, the top 3 in High Limit Racing points after being injured in 3 separate crashes at the Eldora Speedway. And we wanted to take this time to give you updates on their condition from their team's social media pages. Now, this update comes from Ridge & Sun Racing on July 25th on Aaron Reitzel's status. We are pleased to share that Aaron Reitzel underwent successful foot surgery yesterday to repair injuries that he sustained in his accident. The procedure went as planned, and his medical team is optimistic about a smooth and full recovery. And then we found out today that Justin Sanders will drive the Ridge & Sun Racing 87 to fill in for Aaron at the Knoxville 360 and the 410 Nationals starting this weekend. After Knoxville, The team has not let us know what exactly the plan is going to be for that car before we get back to racing with High Limit over at the Tulare Thunderbolt Raceway on August 15th. So we'll wait and see what the status is on that. Now, as for Tyler Courtney, these words come from a Clausen Marshall Racing social media page. We are happy to report that Tyler Courtney had a successful back surgery for an injury that occurred at Eldora Speedway on July 17th. Although the injury will take some time to heal, we expect a full recovery and can't wait to have Tyler back in the NOS Energy Drink 7BC once he has fully healed. Now, we did see Cole Duncan drive the car and fill in for him at Lernerville with an 11th place finish, but after that, it's going to be Gio Scelzi driving that car for the remainder of the High Limit Racing season. Gio's first race will be this weekend at the Knoxville 360 Nationals, a race that he has won before and a race that 7BC has won before as well. And so it'll be interesting to see how that will transpire with Gio Scelzi driving that 7BC with Jake Argo as the crew chief. Excited to see how that pairing will fare this upcoming weekend. Also, here's an update from Brad Sweet. Brad Sweet took a brutal hit to the cockpit during Saturday's Kings Royal. He was evaluated at a nearby hospital and discharged that night, but is taking time to recover from plenty of soreness and a concussion. The Big Cat is back home in California with his family and hopes to be back on the track soon. We did see Brad Sweet on the entry list for the 360 and 410 Nationals. We do not yet know if he will be partaking in either of those events. We will have to wait and see what is going on with Brad Sweet. The good news is that they will all make a full recovery, and we hope to see more encouraging news and updates in the near future before High Limit returns to action at the Tulare Thunderbolt Raceway on August 15th. After Lernerville on Tuesday, that was the 26th race of 2025, and with just 25 races remaining, that means we're at the halfway point of the season. Let's catch you up on all of the happenings so far this year with a quick mid-season recap.
Let's go racing off at turn number 4. We are green. Corey Day will win the season opening race at Las Vegas.
Giddy up and go in car number 57.
Will have his first win of 2025 with Kubota High Limit Racing. Reitzel goes to the top. Tanner Holmes to the inside. He'll take the lead away in turn 2. Reitzel crosses him up, takes it right back away down the back straightaway. Brent Marks through 3 and off of 4. It's back-to-back wins here at Texas Motor Speedway's dirt track. Looking for win number 1 of the year with Kubota High Limit Racing. Abreu gets it done. Down the backstretch, new leader. They get together. Madsen and Abreu get together. And Brad Sweet's upside down in turn 3. Huge wreck in turn 3. 3 and 4 for the final time. Back around the bottom. Abreu to the top. Drag race to the line. Abreu will get him at the line. Rico Abreu wins. Peck gets by the slower car. And Justin Peck gets redemption tonight at Ransomville Speedway. Biggest payout in Pennsylvania sprint car history. $100,000 goes to Aaron Reitzel with the Bob Weicker Memorial. He will sweep the first 3 midweek series races. Rico gets the win. Travis Aarons never ran a High Limit Racing event before, but tonight he wins $26,000. First High Limit Racing win of the year. Tyler Courtney gets it done. A National Touring Wing Sprint Car winner, Cole Macedo, and he flips out to the line. Upside down, a huge way after the line.
Cole Macedo's your winner!
Holberg slider for the lead again. Reitzel takes it away. They're side by side down the back. That threw the left rear out of it. Reitzel has the race lead into turn 3. Reitzel's going to win double down feature number 1 here tonight. One more time into turns 3 and 4. Gravel goes low. Day on the cushion. But tonight it's payday at Eldora Speedway. Corey Day's first ever Eldora Speedway victory.
The battle for the lead. Kyle Larson throws a slack job on Rico Abreu. Abreu dives down the racetrack, but Larson leads him down the back chute.
Side by side out into turn number 3. Rico going to have to return serve. He'll throw a slider to 3 and 4. Larson around the outside maintains the top spot on a turn 4. Close call off the 4th corner. He is going to hit the ultimate Joker's jackpot here tonight. $100,000 going to Larson at Eldora Speedway. The Outlaws stole the money at Eagle Raceway. They're going to do it again here tonight at Lernerville for the Silver Cup. Carson Macedo, $25,000. He wins at Lernerville. Thorson gets second at the line. Seidlins third, Anthony Macri fourth, and James McFadden fifth.
All right, now getting into the third segment of this week's edition of the High Limit Room, joined now by Tony Laporta, the pit reporter for High Limit Racing and social media expert. We're bringing that nickname back. Brian Walker is here as well. We've got plenty to talk about here, although there hasn't been a ton of racing when it comes to high limit. We've still got plenty to talk about. In this segment, we usually talk about what could be some of the best bets coming up here for some of our races. Unfortunately, we don't race for a couple weeks, but if you go to nxtbets.com/playhlr, when we do get back racing, you can go on there, claim a sign-up bonus, see which sports books are available in your region. And as we normally do here on the show, when it comes to that last race that we ran back at Lernerville, Brian, we do like to look at the odds. Carson Macedo obviously able to get the win. I would have to imagine his odds probably weren't too high considering he's been a dominant force on the Outlaw Tour this year. But what were his odds going into Lernerville last Tuesday?
So he did not have any odds.
Oh.
So who ran second? It was Thorson on the line, right? He was plus 2,400 if anyone put money on him. And then Cy was plus 6,200. But yeah, Macedo did not have odds.
And that's one of those loopholes in the system there. If the guy wins that doesn't have odds, it goes to the second place guy. So Thorson at plus 2,400, that would have been a good cash. The Rodman risk was Cy Lynch. I had him at plus 62.19, I believe was the exact number there for him. So definitely some good money to be made there over at Lernerville with a little loophole in the system there. So let's jump into Lernerville a little bit here and talk about what took place over there. Tony, obviously it was pretty cool. The week before, 8 days before Carson's win, his younger brother got his first ever high limit win, his first ever national tour win. And then just over a week later, Carson himself gets his first ever high limit racing win. And what was cool is they were both there at the racetrack, kind of, I don't know if crewing for each other, whatever is the right word to use, but they were both there to witness those two wins. That was a pretty cool deal.
Yeah, I don't know how much they were like helping each other out on like the mechanical side of things, but what are the odds, right? Because both those guys are so busy with their outlaw schedule, and the way that the dates all lined up, the fact that both of them got to be at the other's race to see the other win and also not even competing. That's what's, funny about how the 4 races those guys get to go do other stuff and how all their schedules shook out. Carson was electing to not run Fremont, so he got to be there to watch Cole win and then do all those extracurriculars after the checkered flag. And then for Cole, he got to be there at Lernerville and see Carson win. Super cool. I know, high limit, we're not supposed to be, happy for the Outlaws or whatever, but that was super cool. Brian made a great post on social media. And I don't know if this was your call or not, Brian, to get those two together for the photo in Victory Lane at Lernerville. But what a cool post. What a cool photo. Carson and Cole, the first brothers, in high limit racing history to, win national features, with the governing body. So, that was really cool. And those are just two great guys, right? They're from California, Chase. I don't know why you're not cool like them, but both the Macedo brothers are awesome. And Cole was elated, super happy. And Carson brought it up in Victory Lane himself, how excited he was to get his first ever high limit feature win. And I said it when interviewing Carson, the Macedos and high limit racing, it's just a good pairing, right? So hopefully, in the future, I don't know if both those guys, I think Cole's probably used up his 4. I don't know, Brian, has Carson used up his 4 as well? Yeah, so that's a bummer. We won't see them the rest of the year. Get to come out and race with us. But really cool to see those guys. They're just the Macedos are awesome people, and so very happy to have them come and race with high limit, and awesome to see them both score some feature victories. I do wonder. I'll be a bit of a homer here. I do wonder if Brad Sweet, Tyler Courtney, and Aaron Reitzel are healthy. Does Carson get that win? I don't know. It's a toss-up. He was phenomenal in the feature. I mean, on every start, every restart, he just took off. It felt like nobody in the field we had anything for him. But it would have been fun to see what our top 3 guys in points, would have had. So very happy to see the Macedos run so well.
Chase, can I do a quick trivia? That gave me an idea.
Yeah, let's hear it. What do we got?
All right. So Cole hasn't won an outlaw race, obviously, but there are 5 brothers that have won outlaw races. Can you name those 5? Tony included.
Swindells.
Yup.
The Madsons.
Yup.
Obviously the Macedos. There's 3.
No. Cole has never won an outlaw race.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, he hasn't. Yep. I should know this, I feel like, but I am drawing a blank. Those were the 2 easy ones, I think, the ones that I mentioned. Tony.
There's one more easy one.
Tony, let's hear it.
Yeah, you said Swindells, Madsons. I don't have the 90s and early 2000s knowledge that you guys do.
I'm guessing the Kinsers, obviously, one of them.
None of them are brothers. They're all like,
No, they're not.
That family tree trips me up, so
we're missing the Blaneys. That was an easy one. And then Bobby and Joey Allen and Dean and Kenny Jacobs.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Should have known the Jacobs one. Macedo got the win back there at Lernerville. Thorson and Lynch second and third, and then fourth was Anthony Macri. Fifth was James McFadden. I did want to mention, because in real time, I did not see this happen on the last lap because I was watching Carson Macedo on that final lap to make sure he didn't get into an incident. But how about that move by Tanner Thorson, which really got social media buzzing, going through the infield in 1 and 2 basically, and going right by Cy Lynch. Imagine being Cy Lynch in that situation, thinking, okay, I got the bottom locked down on the white flag lap, I'm just going to run second. And here comes Thorson and blows his doors right off, Brian.
Yeah, I didn't see it in the moment either. I didn't see it until maybe when me and Tony started the drive home. And my phone was blowing up on social media, obviously on the High Limit account. And then we saw Tanner at Sheets all right when we hit the road too. But I did not see it in the moment. Did you, Tony?
No, I didn't either. But what I did see was when I walked out onto the front straightaway for the heat race interview in whichever heat Tanner was in. I think it was like second or third, maybe. This was after they'd seen the checker and they were making their way out of 4 again on the cool down lap. Tanner actually tried that line out. He was down there way, like, I don't know if a berm had been built up yet. I think there was, because I remember seeing like the front of the 88, like actually like lift up in the air as he goosed it off of turn 4. So, don't fool yourself. That wasn't a last ditch, last second Hail Mary. Tanner's a very smart driver, and he had been planning that all night. He saw how the tires were set up in the infield. He knew how the track was racing. He knew the bottom was coming in, and he tried that move at the end of the heat race just to see what his car would do when he ripped it as low as he could get. So hats off to Thorson. Whether you agree with the move or not, he saw that loophole. He saw that opportunity, whatever you want to call it, and he had it in his mind from the heat race that he was going to maybe have to pull that out of his pocket in the feature, and he used it to go after Cy Lynch and get second place. So Tanner Thorson, heads up move by him, absolutely.
Chad Hill swore up and down after Cy's uncle swears up and down that Stevie Smith, who is Tanner's father-in-law, obviously told him about the move, and Stevie won Silver Cup in 95. Tanner said at Sheets he did not. He just picked it up. But that was pretty interesting after the race.
Well, and the best part about it is we all know, like, the tours, guys will end up kind of, pitting next to each other as often as possible. Some guys just pulling in, it's random, wherever you get in is wherever you get in. But the 42 and the 88 almost always make it a point to park right next to each other. And, not that either one of them would ever take it easy against the other. I think they're going to race as clean as they can, but they're not going to give a guy a break or let a guy beat them. But for Tanner and Cy to run as close as they did that whole second half of that feature, and then for Tanner to make that move on, I think it's safe to say the team that he's closest with in the pit area, Tanner Thorson would be the first to tell you he's got no friends out on the racetrack. But what a, dramatic setup, right? Those are the two teams that are always parked next to each other. They talk, they share, ideas a lot. And then for Tanner to pull that move out at the very end of the race, he knew that he could pull it off, or I don't think he would have risked it with Cy and the relationship they have. So, I think that just speaks volumes to how smart of a driver Tanner Thorson is.
Yeah, it was definitely fun to watch. It was Thorson's second place finish of the year. He now takes the midweek series points lead with 2 races to go. So a good weekend there for him. I also did want to mention Brent Marks getting upside down in that race at Lernerville. It was obviously a great opportunity for him and Rico to close in the championship with the top 3 kind of knocked out of the race, not able to run. Of course, Reitzel, Courtney, and Sweet. We'll talk about more of them here in just a moment. But Brent Marks getting upside down after contact with Brenham Crouch in turn 1. Marks didn't seem too happy with Crouch after the fact as he went down there and talked to him on the racetrack. But I wanted to ask you guys, Brian, we'll start with you. Do you think that right there, that moment for Brent Marks essentially takes him out of the championship as far as maybe at least winning it. And now he's 84 points behind, heading to the West Coast, where we know historically has not been one of his best places of the country. But do you think that right there, we'll look back at it and say that was the nail in the coffin for Brent Marks?
I don't think so. I'm not ready to throw in the towel yet. 84 points with literally half the season still to go that's completely doable, I think. And you saw at the beginning of the year, the 19 made gains on the West Coast. They had good runs at, he podiumed, I think, at Kern or Paris, one of the two. So they're getting better out west. And then the whole month of September is a very favorable schedule for him. Be going from Tuskegee to, we've seen him succeed at Lernerville in the past. And then we have Path Valley, Bridgeport, Eldora. So really going down the stretch, it's a good schedule for the 19. It's just about, I think, just limiting the damage on the West Coast, which they showed they can do earlier in the season. So I'm not ready to throw in the towel yet on Brent Marks.
Yeah, obviously we go back to Port Royal for 3 nights as well. That's a place that historically he has been very good at. He got a win earlier this year with High Limit Racing. And we mentioned, Sweet Reitzel and Courtney not being there, and an opportunity for Rico and Marks to close in along with the rest of the high rollers, Tony. It was definitely a very weird feeling not having those 3 guys in the field, especially Sweet and Courtney, knowing that they've been on the series since its inception. But of course, Reitzel has been a very good driver this year. It was definitely a weird feeling. The 7BC was out there, obviously, with Cole Duncan. He went to an 11th place finish, but it just wasn't quite the same without having our top 3 guys there.
No, I agree completely, right? And, who I felt the worst for was the Lernerville fans that showed up in great numbers, because that's the point of buying tickets to a national touring series. Is it's your chance in your neck of the woods, in your hood, as you would say, Chase. It's those fans' chance to get to see the best sprint car drivers in the country, in the world. And so to have Brad Sweet, Aaron Reitzel, Tyler Courtney, all feature winners this year with High Limit, all the top 3 in the championship standings, to have those guys out, yeah, I felt really bad for the fans and the people who tuned in on FloRacing to watch those guys race hard and battle with Carson Macedo. An Outlaw comes and runs with us, and you could have had a really, really exciting fight between a couple of the top teams across the 2 different series. So very weird. And like Brian was at High Limit before either of us came over, Chase. And Brian, I know you know what it's like to be at a High Limit event with Brad Sweet when he's not racing. And what that dynamic is like. So for Brad to prioritize going home, taking care of his health, getting everything checked out, that just made it feel very odd. And to not have Brad in the pit area, or Aaron or Tyler, super strange. But the best news is all those guys are already on the mend. They're on the road back. And, it's just unfortunate they weren't there, but, happy they're working hard to get back to the seat.
Yeah, absolutely. And we hope to see them back here very soon. And with that being mentioned, Brian, it does kind of shake things up here quite a bit. We did get an announcement. We have not covered this on the High Limit Room since it came out. But we mentioned Cole Duncan. He ran the car for the 7BC at Lernerville. He ran 11th. And then Gio Scelzi will drive the car for the rest of the year, starting this weekend at the Knoxville 360 Nationals, but will run the rest of the year with High Limit, starting at the Thunder Bowl on August 15th. And Gio, we know what happened with him and KCP Racing. They split ways. Then he gets an opportunity here to now compete for a championship, which is an interesting dynamic considering he was 7th in Outlaw points, 600 something behind driving the KCP car. And now he's right there within 12 of a High Limit Racing championship, hoping to try and help the 7BC team get a better franchise position. But it's going to be, obviously we want sunshine in the field, but it is definitely going to be interesting having Gio, for the next 25 races with High Limit Racing. He's obviously a very interesting character in the sprint car world. I think he's going to do well. What are your expectations for him? Especially, and it's very interesting that this comes at a time where we're heading back to the West Coast where Gio is so familiar at.
Yeah, in a sense, it is really good that they got him at this time, but also, talking with Sunshine, it kind of sucks that specifically he has to miss the West Coast. I know he was looking forward to redeeming himself after last year. Last year's essentially what buried them for the championship, and Sunshine really wanted to get out West and perform better at Tulare, Placerville, Chico, Skagit. So that sucks, but Gio's won an outlaw race at Tulare. He won with NARC at Placerville. He's ran well at Skagit. I don't think he actually hasn't been to Chico that much. I think he only ran Gold Cup the last year the Outlaws were there. But regardless, it's a kid from Fresno, California. He cut his teeth on a lot of those places out there. You got to think the expectations are a little high for him just in this opening stint. It'll be good for them to have Knoxville to get under the belts, and for him and Jake Argo and Ron and Bobby and Tim to all gel with each other. So, they're 12 back. You got to think like it won't be a surprise if they win. It's just, I think their expectations are that they're winning the championship. Within house, I would think that's the goal.
Yeah, Gio's definitely got to be going hard to try and make that happen for the team, and then we'll see what happens with him in 2026. Before we move on a little bit further, I did want to say well wishes to two drivers as well. Justin Grant, injured in a crash during Indiana Sprint Week at Lawrenceburg, broken foot, we read on Twitter. Ian Madsen also getting into a big wreck at Knoxville, and we hope to see him back as well here soon. Caleb Henry sounds like he's almost back to full strength there, so that is good news from the driver from Sacramento. So continuing on here, another announcement that came out last night as we're recording this, Tony, is Justin Sanders. When it comes to the other car one of the other cars involved in this whole debacle with High Limit, he will be driving the Ridge & Sun Racing 87 for both 360 Nationals and, of course, 410 Nationals at Knoxville. He's made that feature before with the Swindell Speed Lab 39. Justin Sanders, in my opinion, is a guy that has the capabilities to be on the road full time, but, he's got commitments out in the California area. But definitely a good driver for RSR to get in that car and try to get familiar with that car, and then we'll see where Aaron's at when it comes to August 15th at Tulare. But Sanders definitely a good guy to pick up for that car.
Yeah, and I apologize. You might have just hit on it, Chase, but Justin filled in for Aaron in Vegas when he got hurt right before the feature in the dash on our lone night we got in at Las Vegas. So yeah, clearly the team likes Justin. Justin's happy to fill in and already knows the inside of that number 87. It's a bummer, because there's no duplicating Aaron Reitzel, and I don't mean that in the sense of like, Justin Sanders, he can't do it. Justin Sanders is a great driver, battled for that NARC championship last year. I don't know how their season's going so far to this point. But yeah, if it weren't for the fact he has a day job back in California, and is prioritizing that part of his life, you should absolutely, no reason, you don't see, Justin Sanders full-time with a national tour, whether it's High Limit, whether it's the Outlaws. He's obviously fast. He obviously learns racetracks very quickly. So I don't think this is a bad move at all. This is a good move for Ridge & Sons Racing. And he's a guy that will do a great job getting that car down the road until Aaron Reitzel is healthy enough to come back. So great pickup in RSR with Justin Sanders. And also Justin's just a good guy to have in the pit area. However long Aaron is out of the seat, it will be nice for us to have Justin in the pit area to interact with, to talk with, to learn from, and to see racing. So yeah, it's a great move by the RSR guys, I think, all the way around.
Yeah, so definitely some interesting things happening here. One other kind of driver and car, I guess, combo that's new, Brian, is on the Outlaw side of things. Emerson Axum has been tabbed as the KCP Racing 18 driver. They've ran a couple of races so far, got one at Babson and one at Weed Sport. They ran top 10. But Emerson Axum, one of the up-and-coming stars in sprint car racing, and now he's with a car that has a ton of experience traveling around the country. And what are your thoughts on that? Because it's kind of, on one hand, it sucks to see a really good race car like the KPM 27 off of the, not on the track anymore. But Emerson Axum, obviously a very good opportunity that he probably could not pass up.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens long term there, I think, because Dale Klassmeyer and Scott Petrie have done such a great job of building that program up with Emerson and Joe Axum, Hammer, everyone over there. And I mean, like you saw it in, I think, when Emerson or KPM put out their post, like, they're building for 2026 now. This is an opportunity. Yeah.
That's what I was saying. Like I was saying it on one of my YouTube videos. Like you said, I don't know if this goes past this year unless they just are, blazing a trail across the Outlaw Tour. But yeah, that's one thing that I'm thinking about is, does this go past this year?
Yeah. Like, I think it's a great, for KCP, they were obviously in desperate need immediately to get someone in the car. And I think for Emerson, for the rest of the year, it's a great opportunity for him to go out and learn with an established team. Adam Clark's there. He's a great crew chief on the 18 car, and he's going to get to see a lot of new tracks. They'll go out west, obviously. he'd been to Williams Grove before, but a chance in a winged car. He's going to get a lot of new experiences that I think are going to be very crucial for him down the road and long term for the KPM 26 if it comes back, which I would assume it will. It's always kind of been rumored, at least, that they might end up on the Outlaw Tour. No one knows when, but at least that's always been a thought. So it will be interesting to see where this situation goes long term. Regardless, I think it's a great get for the 18 team, and it's a great situation for Emerson to land in as well.
Yeah, it certainly is. One thing we did want to mention here in this third segment, a little bit off topic from what we were just talking about. We've covered all the driver and car swaps here. I did want to talk about the Gold Cup Race of Champions at Silver Dollar Speedway Chico. There was a post that was released about 5 days ago talking about the entry list for that race. And so if there's anybody watching this race that is from the West Coast or maybe, in the Washington area or Arizona or something like that, that's thinking about going to the Gold Cup, if you could enter online, obviously that would be a pretty big help, because as of right now, if there are less than 68 cars at the Gold Cup Race of Champions, then that race will turn from what is a split field, having 2 prelim nights leading up to the finale. If there's less than 68 cars, then all the drivers will race Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. If we do reach 68, we will split the field in half, and half will run Thursday, half will run Friday, and then, of course, all come together on Saturday, which could be a big deal when it comes to the High Limit Championship as well, because if it does not split, that means those will be all 3 points nights as well. So did want to talk about that here in this section. So if you are thinking about going to the Gold Cup, make sure to register online. You can find all those details on highlimitracing.com. Now, we are halfway through the season, guys. 26 races in and 25 to go. We've had 12 different winners in those 26 races. Just a couple, obviously a lot of our full-timers, Abreu, Reitzel, Sweet, Courtney, Peck, but then you got Travis Aarons in there, you got Cole and Carson Macedo, and a couple of other guys as well. So been quite a few different winners throughout the year. I'm expecting a few more before the season is up. But Tony, who has impressed you here recently in the last couple of weeks? For me, it has been Dason Pursley. He's moved up 3 positions in the point standings, and I think that this second half of the year is going to be a really big turning point for Dason Pursley. He's had, I want to say he's on a streak of 6 or 7 top 10 points finishes in a row here with High Limit. But who's been impressing you here as of recently at the halfway point?
Are we talking high rollers exclusively?
Yes.
Yeah, I would agree. Dason looks really, really good. It's so funny, right? Like, a lot of guys will get out of the car at the end of a night and tell you, oh man, we can't put a whole night together. And for most drivers, this is not a blanket statement, for most drivers and teams, they're usually describing the fact that they figure things out, the track comes to them, the car comes to them, whatever, at the end of the night. Well, the feature, and that's good because the feature is what pays the money. But we all know in sprint car racing, especially in wing sprint car racing, where passing is put at such a premium, if you don't do well in qualifying and you don't transfer in through your heat and you don't make the dash, it's not the death nail, but it's pretty hard to overcome a bad start to the night. Dason Pursley is kind of in the opposite realm right now. They qualify really, really well. He's been in a bunch of dashes over the last month, and they look good in heat races. They're either scoring heat race wins or finishing up high enough to transfer in thanks to a good qualifying effort into the dash. But he'll be the first to tell you, they're not having the car underneath him. He's not having the runs through the end of the feature that he's really looking for. Cy Lynch also kind of has been, I think, suffering from that sort of set of circumstances. But yes, I would agree. Dason Pursley has come on really, really strong since the middle of June here to the end of July. They're always a threat to be in the dash, and if you're in the dash, anything can happen. So yeah, I'm gonna obviously go with you, Chase. Dason Pursley has excelled a lot in the last 60 days with his wing effort. He's coming along really, really well.
Do you have the same sentiment there, Brian? Or are you looking at somebody else to maybe turn it on here in the second half of the year?
I mean, I think 13 and the 88 are the 2 obvious ones, really. Dason and Tanner, I think they're the obvious picks for lately, at least. Obviously, the second half's a whole nother story, being that we're going out west, and then we have so many big races with the Gold Cup, Skagit Nationals, Tusky, and then leading all the way to Texas, the finale. So who's going to step up in the second half? We're going to see. There is that $5,000 Musco Lighting Most Improved Driver Award. I know guys like Dason are really eyeing that, so it'll be interesting to see how the second half unfolds.
Well, and to your point, Brian, you nail, with Tanner and the 88 looking really, really well. I just saw it get reshared on a reel by Flo somewhere over the last day or two. I did an After the Checkers interview. No, not after. You do After the Checkers, Brian. I did a high limit room interview with Tanner after, I think it was 141 in Wisconsin, where they stood on the podium. And Tanner in that interview says, my goal going into 2025 with high limit was 5 feature wins. And he said in the interview, we feel like we're right there. We're ready to start knocking them down. So with the streak of podiums and just the really solid run he's been on, I am not expecting Tanner Thorson to finish 2025 with 0 in the win column. I think they're going to win features. I don't know how many. I know his goal is 5. They're going to do whatever they have to get to that point. Aaron Reitzel told me at Lucas Oil right before he got hurt, hey, if you would have told us at the beginning of the year we're going to have 4 feature wins and fighting for the championship lead at the halfway point of the season, we'd be, they'd be really, really happy. But he also said if we didn't win another race the rest of the year, he'd consider the season a failure. So that's just the mentality that guys like Reitzel and Tanner and all of our high rollers have is 1 win is good, 2 is better, and then you keep counting them. So, I think Tanner's ready to start popping them off here pretty soon, and all those short tracks in California are going to fall right into his lap, I think.
Yep, he was up front in a race at Skagit last year, of course, got a prelim night win at the Gold Cup, so he'll be solid out there. Now, final thing we want to talk about here in the third segment, the Knoxville Nationals is coming up, the biggest week of sprint car racing every single year. But first, it is the 360 Nationals, so we're all three going to give you our picks, our predictions to win. We'll start off with the 360 Nationals, and Brian, we'll start with you. I know you were telling us before we went live here that you really wanted to go first, so you must have somebody picked out pretty good here.
I've had my pick planned out since late January. When ASCS went to Volusia. I will take Justin Peck and the Rudine Racing 26. Their 360 program they have right now is unbelievable. So I feel pretty confident in the 2.6.
Okay, Tony. I know you're a big 360 guy, but who do you think is going to be looking good for the big 360 Nationals win?
Man, you're not wrong there. A huge 360 guy. Actually, after Corey Day's second place run with the Craftsman trucks here in Indianapolis this past weekend, that's all him and I could talk about was 360 wing sprint car racing. That's not true. We were talking about other stuff. But Kyle Larson's on the entry list, right? What's the new shirt say? Part-time effort, full-time problem. I'm going to order 5 of those. I think Kyle's obviously a lock, and I jest because, Brian was just telling us his schedule's obviously up in the air. Kyle's is. So, who knows if 360s will work out for Larson. The 7BC with Clausen Marshall has won the 360 Nationals before, and they have a very talented driver stepping in. Giovanni Scelzi is very good in anything he gets behind the wheel of. The 7BC and that team are very good, and I think they have a very legitimate shot at winning the 360 Nationals. If not winning, running up very near towards the front. So I'm going with Scelzi and Clausen Marshall.
Gio has won the 360s before, too.
See, that shows you how big of a 360 guy I am. I wanted to make sure you knew that, Brian.
Yeah, Sunshine won it last year in the 7BC. Gio won it back in 2021 in the KCP 18. So definitely a pretty good combo there. I'm going to go with a guy that runs 360s pretty much primarily all year long. Sam Haferteep Jr. is on a streak of 5. I believe it's 5 ASCS wins right now. And he's won in the last 5 years. He's won 3 prelim nights there as well. So at the 360 Nationals. So I got Haferteep. I think running 360s all year long. We hear these guys talk about how much the tires are different from a 360 car to a 410. So I think Haferteep is going to be dangerous coming into the week over at Knoxville. What's that?
If Haferteep wins, or Peck, either two, that would make it 10 straight years of a different 360 Nationals champion.
Yeah, there's been a lot of parity at this event over the last couple of years, and I was putting a whiteboard together here recently, looking at those numbers. It's been a lot of different guys up at the front of the field in this race over the last few years. Now, the 410 Nationals, we cannot really say the same about that. Kyle Larson has been the dominant force at the Knoxville Raceway when it comes to the Knoxville Nationals the last 2 years, leading all 100 laps that have been ran in that A main. But we'll go back through, we'll give our picks again. Brian, are you going to go with Kyle Larson to three-peat?
If It wouldn't be surprising. I think the three obvious ones, like I think the top of the class right now is the 57, the 2, and I think the 24 at Knoxville. I'm going to go with Rico, just like I did with my season-long championship pick, which I'm still feeling good about. I think I'm going Rico to finally break through and really win that first mega crown jewel. Like you've seen him be so close so many times at Eldora, obviously this year and last year. He was on the front row. I might have been last year at Knoxville or the year before. So he's been close. I think with Ricky Warner, they're dialed in right now with Zach and Brady. They just won again at Knoxville last week. They won the Outlaw Show earlier in the year. I'm going the 24 to finally become a Knoxville Nationals champion.
Definitely a good pick. He's been close here recently. Tony, who are you looking at for the 410 Nationals?
I think Rico is a great pick as well. They are right there. They are just on the very cusp of doing everything they need to be scoring these big feature victories on the half miles. He won during Joker's Jackpot and Kings Royal week. It came on the Friday prelim, or I don't know if they call that a prelim technically or not. It's a full show for the Outlaws. So the night before, Rico wins, and man, they put out a cool video. Him and Whiskey Myers made like a recap video. That's on Rico's Instagram. And if you haven't seen it, I so recommend you go take a look at it. It's just a little music video set to a new Whiskey Myers song. You got to go check that out. But he finished 5th, went +3 last year to stand inside the top 5, and he just won the Kings Royal. He's been on a roll as of lately. Anthony Macri. I think they have got something figured out. Momentum is such a key part of this sport, and confidence, right? Confidence, momentum. I think, they just kind of feed into each other. And Anthony and Joe Mooney and that whole 39M team feels good. And that's the key, right? They feel like they can win when they go to these big marquee races now. And maybe it's not that they feel they can win. They know they can win. So yeah, I'm watching, the Concrete Kid, the Big Mac, whatever you want to call him. Anthony Macri is my pick for the Nationals.
Yeah, he was top 5, I believe, in the feature last year. And if he was able to do that, I'd have to look through the history books. Maybe there's one just kind of missing my mind right now, but I can't remember the last time somebody won the Kings Royal and the Nationals in the same season. But maybe Anthony Macri is the guy to do it. I'm going to go a little bit off the board as well, because Brian mentioned the 2, the 24, the 57. Those are the 3 maybe obvious guys, but I feel like one that has been fast at Knoxville here recently, was on the podium last year. I'm going to go with Corey Day. He's won 2 years in a row in June with the Outlaws against a 55-60 car field, was 3rd in the Nationals last year, and I want to say started kind of, middle of the pack, middle of the field, and came up to 3rd. Corey Day, I feel like, he's figured out the big racetracks here recently, and if there's a cushion, he's going to be a big problem for those guys. So I'm going to go with Corey Day. I like what I've seen from him at the Knoxville Raceway here in the last year or so, and so I'm going to go with him. So we've got Corey Day, we've got Anthony Macri, and we've got Rico Abreu for the 410 Nationals. So I believe that's all I've got in my list of topics to talk about here in the 3rd segment, unless you two have something else you would like to mention. But Tony, you have fun out there in the wilderness, and it looks like it's a great day to do it. Brian?
I just want to say, before we do get out, just a reminder, we already updated folks on those injuries, but we talked about it on the air at Lernerville. To everybody watching this, you know how bad of a feeling it is when you lose your job or you get laid off. Chase, I know that's never happened to you. But these drivers, if they're not racing cars, they're not making money. So, whether you're fans of the particular driver or not, please just consider picking up a new shirt, a new hat. RidgeandSunRacing.com is where you can go find Aaron Reitzel's merchandise. I believe it's sunshine.shop. Don't maybe Google Tyler Courtney merchandise just to make sure you get the right address. I don't know where you can go get Justin Grant's merchandise, but again, all that's very easily solved by a Google search. And for the foreseeable future, at least for Tyler and Aaron, I don't know what Justin Grant's plans are. If those guys aren't driving race cars, they really have no source of income. So their merchandise trailers and their online stores will be how guys like Aaron, put food on the table and pay the mortgage and stuff like that. So just really think about how cool you would look in a new sprint car T-shirt from any one of those guys, and look up Aaron Reitzel, Tyler Courtney, Justin Grant, Brad Sweet merchandise, and consider making a purchase or two, because it would go a long way to help those drivers and their families.
Now, Chase, this past weekend, me and Tony were both supporting people who support High Limit Racing. I went to PDC. He went to IRP to watch Corey Day. Did you do anything to support people who support High Limit Racing?
Yeah, I watched on TV.
Oh, you're part of the problem. You sat at home.
Well, I tried to watch the PDC. I tried to watch the PDC, and then I fell asleep because it was, 4 a.m. or something when they finally finished that deal?
Well, that's neither here nor there. There were plenty of options for you to attend a race somewhere and support people.
Yeah, you're right. I could have attended, but
we got to work on that. What are you doing Tuesday? What are you doing Tuesday? Let's get that rear end to Kokomo.
Tuesday. We have a big meeting coming up tomorrow.
That's in the afternoon.
That's in the afternoon. Kokomo's in
we'll
the night.
Check how far the drive is.
Our bosses schedule our meetings around races. They know better.
They do. GYATK. We'll have to get over there Tuesday, but I will be heading to Knoxville on Sunday after the 360 Nationals. Going to be driving out there, so we'll be.
I'll be there waiting for. I'll be waiting for you at the dinghy.
That's your warning. That's your warning, Knoxville, Iowa. Chase Rodman inbound Sunday evening after the 360s. Get everything ready. Dingus needs to stock up because Chase is coming in hot to Knox Vegas. Be ready.
Yeah, get the ultras stocked up. Tony, are you going?
Chase, I like to keep people on their toes. Maybe I'll be there, maybe I won't. I don't know. If I am, I'll look for you and Anthony, and we'll take our annual 3:30 in the morning turns 3 and 4 photograph, and so you'll just have to keep your eyes peeled. Maybe I'll be there.
Yeah, keep your eyes peeled for Tony the Tiger Laporta, as he could be showing up to the Knoxville Nationals. And we hope to see some of you folks out there that are watching the High Limit Room. If you do, come by and say hi and take a picture, and maybe poke Tony in the belly and then run away, because he does like that very much.
Yeah, nothing like getting an opportunity to take a nice awkward arms at his side photo with Chase Rodman. You cannot pass that up. If you see him walking around Knoxville, make sure you get him to stand next to you like.
Yep. I don't know if people like to be touched these days, man. It's a scary world out there. So
hey, it's worth mentioning the High Limit merch trailer will be at the Knoxville Nationals. I think it's across the street in like the church parking lot, and they will have the trading pins.
Yes.
That are getting.
Yep.
Yes, I believe.
Do you have a pin, Brian?
I do not know.
Oh, okay. Tony and I have a pin. I don't know what Tony's looks like, unless
his was a microphone, and it says.
I think it's just a fork and a knife, Chase. It's a golden corral logo.
Mine's gonna be a Hawaiian girl logo.
Corey Day will get a kick out of that one.
Are we breaking the news about the pins here? Has that gone public yet?
Well, I mean the pins are going public today on Monday, and the podcast won't go out until Tuesday. So it'll be common knowledge.
I can't wait for everybody to see Danny Sams's pin. It's incredible. It's fantastic.
The merchandise trailer will be there, and I think there's also an opportunity to go to the High Limit merch trailer and make if you don't want a shirt, if you don't want a hat from either of those guys we talked about that got injured, I believe Eric in the High Limit merchandise trailer has an opportunity for you to just make a small cash donation to help those drivers and their families. And if he doesn't, all those merchandise trailers will be on site. So just take a walk, look for them, and support those drivers, because they really do need it when they're not behind the wheel of a race car.
Couldn't have said it any better myself, Tony. Thanks for jumping on, Brian. Thanks for jumping on. We'll see you guys at Knoxville on Sunday, and hopefully we'll see some of you High Limit Room viewers out there as well. Thank you all for the support. We'll talk to you guys again here next week on the High Limit Room.